Yo, what is good, everyone? I'm finally back home. For J-Term, I'm going to be doing those daily videos. This is the first one of those for about a month. And in this video, we got a lot of opportunities to talk about, a lot of money to make this week, especially on oil, natural gas, and SPY. If you're in the Discord, we were up pretty nice on those today. And yeah, make sure to stick around. You're not going to want to miss out on these. So with all that being said, we're just going to get right into it. Make sure to show the video some love, give it a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So start off Bitcoin, for the crypto people, there's really not too much to talk about, but I just like to go over it anyways, kind of give you kind of reach as much of an audience as I can. So, we're still watching that trend line, really low inflows, so not really too much movement. I mean, this thing is really not moved in several months, so it looks like you got an inverse head and shoulders. It could be setting up for a bullish move. You're respecting that trend line, but it takes a lot of momentum just to get a tiny move, like I talked about in my last video. You take a look at the MACD here. I mean, look at that. It took a lot of momentum just to really not move at all. So Bitcoin, not too much to say. Just watching these trend lines. If it can get through these, you could see some nice upside into the 20,000. But until then, it's pretty much dead. So oil. This is one. We've been making a lot of money on actually, just because we've been long on oil for the past 2-3 weeks. We started buying. We were buying into this, and it's done nothing but go up. And now what do we have here? Well, we have a wedge. So this wedge can take us to the downside. Now, well, in the longer term, I am looking to the upside to at least 82 and maybe 84 to 85.50ish. It could be setting up for some downside right now. So it's looking ready to be shorted down, and I'm going to show you the reasons for that. So first off, you got divergences on the hourlies, maybe on the 4, not on the 4 hours. So you would want to see this crossover, see those higher time frames start to get that shift downwards. Now the important thing is that the medium time frames are bearish, but not like the daily time frame, because you only want to pull back and not a complete shift in the direction. So what we want to see on the daily is these really just going straight up. So they are going straight up right now. RSI kind of having a battle at that 50 to get into the bullish control zone. So if you're in the Discord, I was talking about the really short term, what I was looking for. So you had 5 down, and I said you could go long because this was a really clear 5 waves down. And after 5 waves down, you get your correction upwards. So you had your 5 waves down, and now you're getting your ABC up. Now I expected the B wave to come in sooner, but it has not done a B wave yet. So I guess I'm just kind of watching this to see what it does. I might take a short tomorrow morning or late tonight, depending on if it wants to move, or just I need to see the structure. I need to do something. Just something that I can work with so I can get that short in, because I do think this wants to come back and test the breakout that it had. So that would look like a breakdown to test this line. Now this is a little scary because technically we've broken out as much as we need to. We're at the 0.382, and that's the lowest wedges break out to before they can reverse. So there's somewhat of a risk here. I'm staying long while kind of scalping a short opportunity, but I do think it wants to come down and retest this line. It doesn't have to. I mean, like here, it broke out, gapped up, and it just kept going. So we'll see how it goes. We'll kind of see how it does through the night and into the morning. So natural gas. Actually, I'll show you my position on this right now. So I'm going to talk about that soon, but right now I'm up 1,500 on natural gas. So this is going well. I'll show you where I went long and why I went long. Actually, I'm just going to show you why I went long right now. But you have a lot of confluence of these trend lines. Last week I was saying natural gas, it had a gap down, and I said this thing is going to give us a setup to go long. And it went much, much lower than I thought it would. We were just waiting it out to see what trend lines you wanted to hit. And that's what you got. So this is a very major trend line. This is not an opportunity you want to sleep on, because it's only hit this like 1, 2, 3, 4 4 times in like um, quite a long time. That's like almost 2 years, I think. You're getting close. So yeah, make sure don't sleep on this. I'm playing futures, but if it does stay down, I'm looking to get into Boyle tomorrow morning, and that's leveraged ETF to go long on natural gas. So if it does stay down, I'll probably get into Boyle tomorrow morning, but for now I'm just sitting in futures, and it's going well so far. I'm going to zoom in and kind of show you what happened in the shorter time frame. So I went long at 5019, so 5019, that was right here, and I'm already up 1500, so well, a little less now, but you get what I'm saying. So my target would be this gap fill. Natural gas like really loves to gap fill, makes it a priority, so I guess my target is like 660, and that would net me about 15,000 per natural gas contract, so that's some pretty good gains. I'll probably be holding a while. We'll just see how it goes. So natural gas, don't sleep on it. Join the Discord if you really want to like track it and just kind of understand and see how it moves, because I trade oil and natural gas religiously, and it goes very well for me. So DXY, it's in this wedge. Japan was doing something. I forget what they did. They halted their bond market actually. I think that was Monday, Tuesday. So kind of interesting. You had a little break in the correlation between the markets and DXY as they both went down at the same time. I think that was right here, but it's still in this wedge. Might want that upside, but it's kind of confusing because I have a bullish bias on the markets, but that we'll talk about that in a little bit when we get there. So DXY, it's a wedge. It can break out. The targets would be 50% and the 6.618. So I'm not sure. I don't really know what it wants to do yet, so just kind of watching it. But I do think it's going to want to test this region in the coming weeks, coming days. We'll see how fast it can move. So Apple, in my last video, I was talking about this gap right here. We filled that gap, and I said I think it could do like a really strong reversal hammer candle and reclaim this trend line support right here. And that's exactly what happened. No, I kind of want to get rid of this line. Just kind of, actually no. This is the volume profile, so I think I'm just gonna readjust it. So yeah, let me slide it over. Give me a second here. So yeah, give me a second. Alright, we're good. So zooming in, actually I'm just gonna kind of show you this first. So this right here, we've been falling through a volume pocket. That's kind of a zone of illiquidity, and need to get through that area in order to get to the next area of buyers and sellers. So that's why I see these really fast moves through these regions. You can kind of see that just looking through here. Straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up. You can see that for yourself. So right now we're at a very high kind of concentration of where people are going to be trading this. So that's why I'm seeing this fluctuation of price just kind of oscillating around this region, because and kind of funnily enough, it is pretty close to that gap. So this is the region to watch, those low 130s. I want to see this trend line reclaimed. It gapped underneath it, which is a little concerning, but this is another support to be watching, that 0.786 Fibonacci trend line from this kind of channel range, and this has been respected very well, all of these levels. So you can see for yourself, draw this out for yourself if you want, and you can kind of see how I do it. So Apple, there's no divergences, so I was kind of thinking maybe this wants to reverse up, and I was looking for that confirmation. Now, we don't really have that. I would like to see the RSI and MACD being higher than this region, because that would give us that lower price with the higher RSI, MACD, but there's no divergence, so it's a little interesting. I'm just going to be watching it, see what it wants to do. Tesla. The Tesla bubble has finally popped. It took long enough, but here it is. It's finally coming to fruition. That much expected crash that took a very long time, and you got that massive head and shoulders, probably the biggest head and shoulders I've ever seen, and it is finally playing out. So a lot of people expected this to hold up in this region right here in the 130s. I did too. I did not take a position. I was planning on it, but it really just sliced through it like butter. So What is next? Well, you got to kind of take everything into consideration, where buyers are going to be, um, the next demand zones and supply zones above and below. And I was really hoping 130 would hold, and it did not. So to the downside, you got a really tiny demand zone right here, which is somewhat holding actually. So as you can see that, but if you go below this, it gets pretty nice. You can see the 110 and ultimately 101, right around 100. That I would definitely be a buyer here, with a tight stop loss at probably 90. If we don't hold here, it's straight down to 65. So it really, really needs to hold this area, or else, it's really over for Tesla. So it broke some really crucial trend lines. Two of them that I expected to hold. I expected it to hold right here for that gap fill, and then these two trend lines, as well as a demand zone. There was a lot of reasons for it to bottom there, but it did not. So this move is also supported by volume. So Tesla is looking really bad actually, but nothing goes down forever, except Tesla, I guess. But this thing has been relentlessly dropping. A lot of margin calls. I think there were like 15 margin calls on like massive institutions today. So, and yesterday, just everyone being liquidated. So Tesla, you don't want to catch a falling knife, so it's okay to be patient, but the momentum is really strong to the downside. I would be patient if you want to get long, looking for a bounce. So don't take that position without confirmation. So on to Amazon. Amazon, I've been looking for this bounce. You got some tiny divergences here. So Amazon, it's a really slow one. I expected it to kind of bottom sooner, but again, this one's just kind of a waiting game. Might want to hit that trend line before doing a reversal. So Amazon, it's setting up to get a bounce, but I'm not sure when it wants to do it. Maybe it does want to hit that trend line first. So Amazon, just watching it. LabVIEW. Now, I showed you my profit for this one. I'm still holding this. I did not go heavy in it at all, but this range, it is such a consistent range. If you're not trading this, you're really missing out here. It's been in this range since September, and it just goes back and forth, up and down. And in the Discord, we were trying to get our entry as close to 6, because if it goes under that, it's kind of dead. You don't want to see it under 6 if you're trying to go long in it. But if you can get entries close to 6 and you have your stop loss at 6, you're not risking much. So that's what we did. We got in at 624, and it's going for a big breakout here. If it breaks out through this line, my target would be 770, and ultimately kind of that 810 area. So we'll see what I want to do tomorrow. A lot of this depends on PCE numbers, which come out in pre-market 1 hour before open. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that should give us, it will give us a pretty decent move, and I think I am biased to the upside. You'll see why once we get to SPY. So XBI, this is the biotech ETF for LabU and LabD. It's also going for that big breakout, so that's going to be interesting. PCE is good. You can really see this rocket up. So SOXX going for that gap fill. It's in the gap, but got a bounce. And actually, some people in the Discord caught this, like literally right at the bottom on SOXL. That's the long one. And so far from that bounce, these are really volatile. It doesn't look like much, but that's 7%. So just putting that into comparison, I was talking about this breakout, especially if you remember that 80%. I said this thing can go on an absolute monster run, and that's what happened. 80%. So you don't want to be sleeping on biotech and semiconductors. These ETFs really do move a lot, and if you can trade them right, there's a lot of money to be made. Now, we broke down under this trend line, and that was kind of concerning, because this trend line it doesn't break, and it finally did, and I was like, whoa, this is kind of interesting, but you got that really nice reversal. And the other thing was the MACD was turning, so this was, I was kind of like, this looks like it wants to kind of trap people and shoot up, and that is exactly what happened. The MACD was it was going straight up, same with the RSI, and was dropping, so that was a pretty obvious kind of turning point for me. And if you did catch that, that's some nice gains already. That's like $10 per share. So VIX, not too much to say. I think it's in a bottoming process. It could go lower into January if you're kind of following like cycle theories. on SPY and the VIX. It's expected to bottom, I believe it's mid to late January. So keeping my eye on the VIX to bottom within, I guess, 2-3 weeks. So SPY. Couple things to say here. Now SPY has been absolute hell to trade lately, especially up here. I actually just stopped touching it once it was, I think it was like right around 2. It was just so hard to predict. And we finally now have structure to work with. So you're going to get a bounce from this move down soon. I'm not sure how soon that's going to be, but we're going to take a look at where we want to go to the upside and why, and target to the downside. So first off, the demand zone. If you're in the Discord, we were talking about this region a lot. So a lot of people were shorting from around 2, and I said, ultimately, I think you'd want to get out in this region between 378 and 374 because demand buyers are going to come in here, and that's exactly what happened. You actually bounced off of it like yesterday or 2 days ago, and today you had a really massive reaction. And another reason for this is that we have divergences, really big ones. So with these divergences, you can't really see them on the 4-hour yet, and once you really see the 4-hour toning, that's kind of your signal that the big direction and momentum is going to shift into the next direction, which is going to be up. But if you go into the 2-hour, you got divergences, RSI too. The 1-hour, same thing. Divergences crossing over. So bulls are looking pretty strong here. You know, you kind of got to be careful with those catalysts like the PCE numbers tomorrow. But what I'm seeing here is that it really wants to reverse. I'm pretty sure the PC put to call ratio is like insane, like astronomical actually. Let's take a look at that quick. Yeah, so I saw something where it's been like the highest in 10 years, and this kind of makes it different than the past rallies we've had. Yeah, I guess it's not as high on here, but I saw some other charts. So regardless, you know, it's really high right now, and what that can do, let me fix this. What that can do is spark a massive short squeeze, and that's usually what happens too. So what's interesting about this to me is that when we had these rallies, you didn't really see it. Let me kind of clarify what I'm saying here. So at the peaks, it gets. So if you're looking back here, you know, it didn't really kind of spike up like it, I guess, does at the bottom. So new bottom, that's what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't spike up until it makes a new bottom. Now this time it's really interesting because it's spiking up really, really hard, and we haven't made a new bottom. So this could give us what I've been expecting for several weeks now, is that C wave up to a higher high. So this is what you need to be careful of. Go look at all of my thumbnails. This is exactly what my chart has been looking like for several weeks, like over a month now, since back here we were kind of looking for that top, into the correction, into another high. So, you know, this is the center rally. If it really wants to come to life, we could have bottomed to. Now, if we want to go lower, well, we're going to be looking at these fib levels as well as the demand zone, which kind of correlates with that region. So let me clean this up a little bit. Another thing, you got a lot of gaps to the upside. Gap here, gap here, gap here, and it's probably going to want to test liquidity in this region, so you could easily, very, very easily see the 390s again, towards 400. So for the demand zones, you got a demand zone kind of lining up. You know, this is a little scary. You don't want to see under 370. The lowest you'd want to see is 365, 366 if you're a bull. If it gets under that, it's really dangerous. Just you don't want to see under that 61.8% retrace. So maybe it does want to revisit this trend line one last time, depending on how you draw it. Maybe from this low to this low, that kind of brings it what would look symmetrical into that golden pocket right off that trend line, and I would attempt to buy there with probably a tight stop loss like under this low, so not risking much. But this is the big trend line to break. If it breaks through this, I think shorts are going to get railed, and you're not going to want to be on the wrong side of that move if it happens. So SPY, it's sort of consolidating with downwards drift, and I do think it wants to tone up. You got some pretty heavy resistance right around 384, 385, as you can see. So put this on your chart, make sure to put this on your chart, and especially put this whole volume profile on your chart so you can really see where buyers and sellers are coming in, the areas of incentive, where it's going to fall through, like these volume gaps. You can see we squeezed right through it, fell right through it. It's really useful and important to understand where buyers and sellers want to come in, because that's how the market works. It's just, where do people want to buy and sell, and this is where you can see where they're doing that. So tomorrow, if we do get a drop overnight, and that's actually what's happening right now, I may consider going long before PCE numbers. This was a pretty big drop that was kind of obvious that was going to happen shorter term. That's just not sustainable, and you got a nasty drop today, but ultimately ended out with a short squeeze, and you can see that. So I might consider going long if we can get down to 382 on ES. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure if I will or not, but anyways, there's not too much else to say. We're just gonna have to see how PCE numbers go and the market's reaction to it. So I'll have a video tomorrow night. We'll see how PCE numbers go, and that's where I'm going to leave this video. So make sure to join the Discord so you can really stay on top of everything while you're waiting for those videos to come out. And yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. So peace out, guys.